Hello fellow pilot, I'm Major Payne and this is next episode How to Play. In this one we will talk how to play Venom. It's a British tier 5 fighter which actually now is in a store, premium store, just for €1. So I thought maybe that's worth to make a video about this because with just €1 it's really a price of donut. So I already have that plane, but for those who don't have this plane yet, I think it's worth to talk about this because it's pretty good airframe, so it's worth to buy in my opinion. Let's get into the history of this plane. So the Vickers Venom was a private venture, a Type 279 Venom 8-gun fighter, made its first flight on 17 of June 1936, almost 3 months after the first flight of the prototype Vickers Supermarine Spitfire. Begin late in the field and under power when compared with both the Vickers Supermarine Spitfire and the Hawker Hurricane, there was little prospect for production order. Despite this, aircraft was subject to the both manufacturer and official trials, where it shows a very credible performance and superior maneuverability in terms of roll rate and turning time. Problem stays, and it was a 625 horsepower Bristol Aquile 9-cylinder engine. There was more powerful engines available like Rolls-Royce Merlin, but it was not suitable for such a small airframe. So aircraft was rejected by the Air Ministry, and only one Venom was built. A prototype was scrapped in 1939 following the crash during the test flight. Getting back to the game, and let's start from firepower. So this plane have 11 points on firepower. As you can see, it's 8 machine guns, 8 Brownings machine guns, which have 440 meters of range, which is short obviously, but that's the kind of plane you have. It's a maneuverable close combat fighter, and 440 that will do basically. I found them very easy to aim and sustain the damage. They not overheat, so they have some plus and they have some minus obviously, because they set up on fire but they not damage modules as the same as cannons. Typical difference between high caliber and small caliber basically. So it's pretty decent compared to any other. Most of the fighters doesn't have that firepower, so it's pretty good. And as you can see here, this engine which caused this prototype to not go into the production. So air-cooled 625 HP horsepower. The same is in real Venom. So pretty accurate compared to the history. Anyway, let's go to the survivability now. It's 220 HP. I have just slightly less because of the modules, obviously, but 220 is pretty okay. It's a lot of aircraft on this tier 5 have less than that. Some others like Hurricane, for example, have a little bit more. Hurricane 2, I guess, is yeah, but that's multi-role fighter, not very good compare, but fighters. So for the fighters, like if you go for Hurricane, the same HP. So the same with Boomerang and Spitfire. I think have even less. It's 200, yeah. So it's not bad. And let's say we can't complain on this. Airspeed is actually something where I can complain. I just simply, maybe I don't like the planes which are slow, because I don't feel that I have a big impact into the game, specifically if I have a map where the sectors have a distance between them. So 330 km per hour, it's a cruise speed, which is, in my opinion, low. It's a slow aircraft, and with boost, I have the module here which slow down this plane a bit, but it's 500 km per hour maximum speed with boost, and diving is 600 km per hour in a dive. You can reach that. So boost is 6 seconds, pretty standard for a fighter this tier. So nothing extra, and Yeah, maneuverability is something where we have to go into the wargaming website to compare this with another other planes. Okay, so average turning time we have 8.3 seconds. So it's very good, and compared to other aircraft, it's one of the best. So I found only 3 aircraft which have the same or better. So we can delete this one, and it Curtis Tomahawk is a Chinese version, so we can outmaneuver that pretty easy. And the same is Spitfire at 8.6, which is not a big difference, but it's still a difference. So if there are two equal planes, like, or not specialized, or both are specialized, I presume that most of the player will specialize Spitfire and the Venom for a dogfighter for turning time, all the modules which increase the turning time. So if we compare two same aircraft, so Venom will eventually outturn the Spitfire. So that's very good. So we don't have to be worried about Spitfires, which we will probably happen to find in most of the battles. Spitfires are one of the most popular plane at this tier, I believe. So, but we can outturn that if we, of course, have this Venom specialized. The same with this premium one, it's the same thing. Premium version of Spitfire is absolutely the same. Actually, armament is actually exactly the same as well. It's 8 Browning machine guns, so pretty equal planes, but we can outturn them, so we don't have to be worried about them. The same, this little feller, which have 9 seconds of turning time, we don't have to be worried about this one. Boomerang, obviously, it's have bigger firepower, so we cannot be engaged in head-on attacks because he have two 20mm cannons and the Browning machine guns, so more firepower, but rate of time, turning time 9.2 seconds, which is much more, so we can easily outturn this one. And there is 3 planes which I mentioned, which we have to be worried about. It's Mitsubishi A6M20 from Tech Tree. So it's the best. I think it's the best turning time. So 7.90. So we basically cannot get into that turning fight with this guy because we're simply gonna lose that. And the firepower seems to look the same. So we have to be very careful when we're dealing with these planes. Basically, all the Japanese planes, if we see them in a battle, we have to engage them as a first. So try to attack this from surprise, and if they not pay attention or stuff like this, or ask for help, but you cannot deal with them on your own with human player, of course I'm talking about, and have to be extra careful because they simply are better in maneuverability, and they doesn't have less firepower. So this is the thing. And Mitsubishi A6M3 experimental, it's a premium. I have that in my hangar. It's fabulous plane. It's really fun to play, and this one have cannons, so that's why the firepower here is 19 and we have 11. So this plane is absolutely superior to us. It's slightly better maneuverability on it, so obviously it's depends as well from your specialization. If you have a little bit better specialization, then you can outturn this, but no head-on attacks because he's simply gonna kill us before we even making damage to him. 30mm cannons, I believe it's in it. So yeah, 2 30s and 2 machine guns. So this is a deadly weapon for us. And we technically on paper we will lose the turn fight. Obviously, it's just 1 point of the second, which is so small different that simply we will probably turning like numbers of these circles around before the Mitsubishi A6M3 will get into our 6 o'clock. So obviously it's better, but just slightly. So we can ask for our team for help. Maybe someone will engage this airplane in this time when we are doing those circles. But yeah, extra careful when you see any of these Japanese planes. The same here. It's KE-43 and its turning time 7.9 as well, much better than we. I mean, not much better, but still better enough to outturn us in a dogfight. At least this plane have less firepower, at least on paper, because it's 220mm cannons. That's interesting that it shows that this is less firepower, but it is. Eight machine guns are better than 220mm cannons, so it's have 7 points here on the scale, so it's we have better, so we can afford to have this head-on attack with this, and hit points as well. Survivability, sorry, it's much less than we have, so 160 points instead of our 220. So that's the difference. We can engage this plane in a head-on attack, and then in turn fight, yeah, there is a problem because this plane will outturn us eventually. So we have to keep that in mind, that those Japanese planes are a main target for us. We can never ignore them. We have to engage them as a first if they are around, of course. Rest of the plane we simply can outturn, like this XF4U or this Bell XP77 and all the other fighters which can have better firepower, like this BF-109, but still turning time is much longer, so we can simply outturn all this. So that's the way to play this. Oh, one more thing, and Yakovlev Yak-1, it's a Russian tier 5 fighter which has less firepower, a little bit less hit points, HP points, but turning time is exactly the same as we have. So keep that in mind, that this plane is a danger, obviously, and but we can attack this one head on, and we have more HP to deal with this and more firepower, so that's the way to deal with this one. And any other plane, like even this E-180, still have less maneuverability than we have, 8.6. So that's the information you have to keep in mind. All these Japanese planes, focus, priority, focus straight away, and Yak-1 as well. Be aware that he have the same maneuverability as we. So that in terms of this maneuverability, that would be it. So not bad. And let's get back to the hangar, and let's take a look on altitude performance. Very low. So we have optimum altitude is 900 meters, which is extremely low, and the maximum altitude is 2,900 meters, which is not great as well. So basically, we really have to stay low, because I tried this plane in battle, and if you go over 1,000 meters, it's really struggle, speed, slow down, and everything's go down. So basically, it's a problem to engage fighters like Me-109, which are usually a little bit high altitude. They not stay that low. If they stay, they make mistake, but that kind of plane which are doing boom and zoom tactic are going to be a problem for us, because we cannot really catch up with them. They're very fast. Our speed doesn't allow us to chase them too long, and specifically if they will do it that vertically and they going up, and that's going to be a problem. But if the Messerschmitt will make mistake and get into the turn fight with our Venom, then it's very easy fight then for us. So let's get into the battle, and let's see how this plane perform. So you see this game here have 3 garrison and 2 airfields, but as you can see on this map here, those sectors are very close to each other, which is very good for this plane because of its low speed, which not allows you to travel between the sectors which have some big distance, like in other maps. So I'm pretty lucky here, because I don't have to fly far away for another sector. So after our team take this first sector close to our resp, we go into the middle, and from that middle sector, which is garrison. Look how close, almost touching airfields and other garrisons. So this is perfect map for this plane. And from time to time you will have some map where it's like 4 sectors and they have a pretty big distance between them, and that's gonna be a kind of problem for this plane, which you won't be able to have such a good impact for the game because of your speed, and just simply very slow. And as you can see, those eight machine guns doing the job pretty nice. We have here a good start. You see, Japanese plane is my first focus. Like, I have to be extra careful with if I see any Japanese fighter, I engage it in the first place, because we cannot allow to have that kind of plane around not being engaged. Very maneuverable, and I kind of like those machine guns. I don't have to be worried that they will overheat or anything like that. You just press fire and that's it. As you can see, I'm not moving too far away. Just everything is here close to the middle. And now Spitfire, that's well, this one was low HP, so easy target. Doesn't look good. Alright, so we start from airfield now to have just to be closer to the enemy sector. All around plane is really good, and I really recommend that for new starter. Like, if you're not very experienced player, that's probably a good plane for start, and it's a fun to play as well. Of course, not my kind of type of plane. That's not my favorite type of plane. I prefer speed and firepower over maneuverability, but this can be very effective as well if you stay low and be aware of this enemy which can outturn you. Yeah, so we go in here for garrison, and defense aircraft are very easy target for us. Yeah, those eight machine guns put fire on enemy pretty easily, so you can set up fire on enemy plane. Oh, as you can see here, that's heavy fighter. Just catch up fire as well. and somehow he figured out that he can turn next to me like this instead of just going ahead and pass me and then re-engage. That had to be someone not very experienced. Well, this game gonna be quick. As you can see, we have huge advantage now in points. I'm just trying to get some extra points for myself here on airfield. And you see the Spitfire doesn't pay attention. That's a great target. Another one not pay attention. Alright, so it's almost finished, and not much we can do here. That's actually the end of the battle basically now. So pretty nice result. So yeah, I highly recommend this plane. It's really fun to play, and it's really good for beginners. Just keep in mind which plane can outturn you, as we previously discussed, and you can easily make a really good results and have a fun in it, get some extra credit. And at the moment the plane is really cheap, like €1, which is not much, I believe, and yeah, highly recommended. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Take care, guys.